off, you turn it off at your gas. Wait to see if it reignites. If there's no flame there, it should go to lockout. That proves that it's going to lockout. Does that prove that the valve is closed there?
No, it doesn't.
No. So then, what do you need to do? Mini tightness test. Open your valve up, your inlet, gauge on, 20 millibar into your gauge, valve off again, you should see no drop. And that proves that your solenoid, your valve's in there, your solenoid, your gas valve is closed, no gas is going through to your burner. So whatever you do with FSD, you need to test it shut. So many times you get portfolios coming through and say, it went to lockout, so that proves the gas valve is shut. You don't. It proves it's going to lockout, and it probably has closed the valves down on the solenoid. You're going to prove it, but it has shut, there's no gas being passed through now. So unless you do your minute tightness test, you're not proving anything.
When I work together with the gas engineer make just like this. And you see the result?
Oh yeah, they'll just say, yeah. They'll say they look for it to go to lockout and assume that's fine. That's gone to lockout, so it's working. Well, it's working to the extent that it's gone to lockout. Yeah. It's not proving that the valve is shut down completely. That's your mini tightness test to do that. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now the impulse tube. Don't ask me questions about an impulse tube if you're over there. Well, I'm talking here about an impulse tube now. Do you know about an impulse tube? No. Heads up then. Because if Paul asks you, mate, your arse will be tweaking. The impulse tube. What, mate?
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. So, if I were you, mate, I'd look later and just listen up now, because you'll need to know this. The impulse tube, don't always have it, but sometimes they do have it attached to a gas valve. That is a secondary safety device. That will monitor the negative pressure in the casing due to a blockage maybe in the flue. So if you think about it this way, if that fan's running, leave it on lockout so I don't burn what air I've got left off. Mainly up my nose. So if this is running and that's blowing air from the casing into the mixing tube and into the burner, then I get a blockage on the inlet of my flue. What's going to happen to the pressure in the casing? What's happened to the actual, it's already got negative, it's already under negative pressure, isn't it? Because it's drawing air.
It's going to pull it tighter.
It's going to pull it tighter. You're going to get an increase in negative pressure in the casing. That will be picked up by this tube, which is normally sat just in the casing from the gas valve. It's underneath the ledge there, going up, and it will sit there in the casing. So when that negative pressure increases, it puts more negative pressure this top side of the diaphragm. So while it's working normally, it's been pulled open to let the gas through to the burner. Now we've got a blockage. The negative pull on that tube and on the diaphragm will start to drag that valve closed again from the other side. It'll drag it shut. It drags it shut, it's going to go to lockout because there's no gas.
What's the name of the tube?
Impulse tube. So that's why I said in the first place, you were too busy in your book. It's an impulse tube. And he might ask you about that impulse tube. Well, in fact, I know he will. If he's on it next week, he'll be asking you about impulse tube. If you don't know what it means, you're in for a half hour or an hour so it's worth of pain with nothing at the end of it either. Am I right? So, make sure you know what it's about. That's what I'm telling you. This is why you need to take it in. So that's what the impulse tube does. They're not all on every model. Some models don't have them, they don't use them, they just rely on the fact that there's other devices like overheat stats and cut-off stats that will pick any overheat temperature up caused by blockages and cut off. That's what an overheat stat does anyway. If it detects it going too hot, either on the float or in the flue pipe itself, then it'll just cut out. So this is an additional, if you like, and it's testing or monitoring the negative pressure in the casing. Some older boilers will use an air switch. Don't get confused with air switches solely being used for proving that the fan's going. An air pressure switch is also used, like the one we have on the Worcester Bosch, an ACS in there, that you'll be going on tomorrow. There's an air pressure switch in there. That air pressure switch is monitoring the actual negative, because it's a 1-to-1 gas air ratio valve in there. So lads think, well, it's a 1-to-1 valve, so why have we got an air pressure switch? And that's normally found on older boilers that are proving that the fan's going before they start the ignition process. As a safety feature. Don't lead it with zero governor, because no fan, no gas. Fan ain't running, the gas valve ain't lifting. Simple as that. The air pressure switch in this case will monitor, like the one in there, like say the base, will monitor the pressure in the fan and the flue. And if that pressure is either too much of a positive pressure, depending on what's blocked, heat exchange or flue, or too much negative pressure, yeah, then that micro switch aside the fan switch, air pressure switch, will just switch off. Send the signals to the PCB, and that will take it into lockout. Yeah? So the impulse tube does that, but it does it directly by having a tube connected in the fan casing. So that represents that going into the fan casing and sitting in there. Yeah, so if you was to block, if I was to block it, you'll see the flame go down because the gas valve has been drawn up at this side here. It's been drawn closed. It's difficult to do with that. But when it lights up and you see the flame height, and I start putting a blockage in there effectively, by covering it up, you'll see the valve, you'll see the flame go down. It's reducing because the actual gas valve has been pulled up shut. Being pulled up shut, the flame is going to go down now. And if it's blocked enough, it's just going to close it down altogether. No gas. Electrification will kick in, send the AC current back as an AC to the board, and it will go off. So normal situations, normal fan. Your fan and your actual casing and your balancing of the air and gas in these units is crucial. Yeah? Affects it a lot. Just the slightest change, yeah, will knock that valve about in that gas valve, causing it. Yeah, either too much pressure, too much gas, too little gas, whatever. It's going to cause it to do that. The impulse tube is sat there. So normal operating conditions it'll be alright. If you block it off, now I've got a blockage, there's a problem. So if you get suction, it will produce an imbalance inside there. If I try and block the air out, what's happening to the flame?
It's going down.
It's going down, yeah? Because I can't block it altogether, it's just the way it's designed, I can't get down around it. But it's blocking it down, it's now starting to pull on the gas valve at this side. It's starting to draw it upwards towards its seat again, closed, and the flame is going down accordingly. If it was fully blocked, it'll pull it all the way closed, and then that will go to lockout, because the flame won't be there. It won't be big enough.
So in a nutshell, that's how you test it.
No, what you'll test, how you test it, is purely by turning it off, interrupting the gas supply. Yeah. But you just got to know, you might get asked it, what the impulse tube does. How the air going into there, what it does.
But there's no official test for that pipe.
Got it?
There's no official test for that pipe.
No. You just know. Test for it, take it off. The test for it, you could pinch the pipe and you'll notice the difference in your flame picture again, because you're upsetting now. That provides a bit of equilibrium, if you like, to the valve on the top side of it.
I don't want to give Paul any more reasons to ask me more questions.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Totally.
Just know that you're talking about ionisation. A flame, the test for it is that I turn the gas supply off. It tries to reignite, it notices no flame straight away, so immediately it's gone into lockout. Then once it's in lockout, don't leave that on. Take the inlet, undo that, put the gauge on, charge it up to 20, turn tap off again, make sure there's no leak, make sure there's no drop. And that proves that your gas valves are shut, you've got no pipe of gas passing.